What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel. I'm your host. And in this episode of Breakfast of Champions, we're going to talk about overthinking. Yep. Overthinking is something that I personally used to do a lot. I did a lot. And if you relate, or if you ever found yourself overthinking something, like you ever heard the term overanalysis causes paralysis? And typically, I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've met somebody who, or know somebody, or probably even yourself, who at some point or another wanted to open their own shop, or at some point or another wanted to be self-employed and start a business. But what do all of them say? All of them say is that the hardest thing to do is just do it. And I think that overthinking is one of the reasons why we as a society does not do certain things. And so why I bring this up is because I work and live in a sales environment, and my industry just happens to be real estate right now. And what I hear a lot as of late is, man, I wish it was 2016 again, or man, I wish it was as easy as it was last year, or oh man, why can't these leads be like what it was before? And what that is, how I hear it and how I interpret it, and I hope that you learn how to interpret it this way too, so that when you find yourself in this or in that position where you're also overthinking, you're reminded that it is simply an option to remain stagnant. It's an option to be sitting there overthinking. And ultimately what it does is it kills your dreams. It kills your momentum, your motivation. And so you may not be in a sales environment though, because this is Breakfast of Champions. This is a show, and these are episodes that are designed to, really kind of deconstruct and allow yourself to see your struggle, your pain, your hustle from a third party looking in. And there's this sense of relief when you know that someone else has gone through it, or someone else is going through it. And what happens when you realize this is you no longer have the internal dialogue of, oh, it must be greener on the other side, or oh, I better go over here because they got this guarantee. What I want you to do is really understand that it's greener where you water it, right? I know that's a cliche, tacky fucking saying, but I like it. And it really does ring true, meaning that it will only happen if you make it happen. And what happens is, though, when we as sales agents, we get comfortable, and I'm going to reference last year, the years before, because, the market is the market. And some of us, especially for those mortgage bankers watching, you didn't know a market when it was hard to sell. You didn't know what a market was like when you actually needed to know how to persuade and convince and sell somebody. Really, for the last couple years, it was an option to just get licensed up, and then you automatically are fast-tracked to make at least 5 figures per month. And it's a rude awakening, and it's unfortunate because I see a lot of gifted young hustlers getting onto the field. And by the way, when I use the word hustler, or hustlers, it's funny because, when I grew up and when I was coming up, hustler had a bad look to it, right? Like a hustler meant someone like a con artist. It meant someone who was like dealing drugs, hustle, like, yo, man, this guy's gonna take advantage of me. But today it's weird because the society and the times have adapted and evolved the word hustle to now mean to do what you need to do in order to do what you want to do, right? And so what it ultimately means to me is that you're going to do whatever you need to do in order to reach the next level. And you should be constantly wanting to reach the next level. So naturally, you should be wanting to always hustle. And so why I bring that as a side note, because I do say the word hustle a lot. I think hustle has gained a lot of notoriety as of late, especially with the advancement in technology. And like, for example, right now, you're seeing me today on April 2nd, May 3rd, where, I personally am giving and sharing information live as is, and you are in the trenches. You are in, like you are in the forefront of when I'm building this brand. So you're with me, I'm with you. And how could you do that though before? Like 10 years ago, you weren't able to do that. But here's the fun fact though, before I actually started doing it, I was stuck. I was overthinking it. And, you know, like the idea was always been there. And not until February, put it this way, not until February 14th, 2017, last year, did I finally make the very first page for Ad Sales Remastered. But an even more fun fact is that I didn't upload my first video until probably about the good, I would say 20th or 30th video, because, you know, I was overthinking it. I was my worst critic, and I was too stuck, worried about the point of view of others. And what I had found, you know, through heavy studying of the craft, from like, you know, watching videos, learning from virtual mentors like Gary Vaynerchuk or Ryan Stewman or even Grant Cardone, right? Like all these other influencers, how they did it and where they started. And what the platforms allowed me to do was look at the original video. So you get a chance now, which was never done. Like you were never able to do this with, like, let's say Steve Jobs. You were never able to do this with, let's say, you know, a movie, like someone who is a top influencer to you. It doesn't have to be in the movies. It could be a music artist. It could be another artist. But you weren't able to do something like, okay, well, let me go ahead and pull up Steve Jobs' very first meeting video. Let me go ahead and pull up his, you know, his day 2 on starting Apple, right? But what you can do, though, is you're actually able to do this with Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Ryan Stewman. And so it's an option on YouTube because they built their empire from YouTube. And YouTube has this option where you can go to the profile page and hit up oldest video, right? Like you go to their video tab, and then you click one of the filters and it says oldest. And I mean, you know, after I saw that and I realized that was there, I wasn't as scared, because I saw that they too were not as smooth as they are today. And it was just a simple reminder that repetition is key. And so what I found was that when I was overthinking a lot of the times, you know, what I was thinking or what I was referencing were not only things that were not true, meaning I was actually just referencing illusions, and illusions meaning fear. Like I was fear that people were going to make fun of me, fear that people were going to critique me, they're going to judge me, they're not going to listen to me because I'm some Filipino dude. There's a lot of these illusions that just simply aren't true, but because we overthink, it becomes a small problem, becomes a huge problem. And so I want us to realize how, you know, different areas or different times that we overthink, because we could be unknowingly holding our own selves back. And how we're going to apply it today is that there's something that you wish was easier. There's something that you're going to do today that you wish was like how it used to be, was with you know, less of a grind, lesser of a challenge than compared to before. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be sales. It could be just everyday communication, right? This is just something that you got to do, and you're going to go into it looking at it as a grind, like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this again, right? And what it is it's us just overthinking it, and and what we're doing is we're constantly comparing and hoping or wishing that we didn't have to do that extra step or didn't have to move forward like we have to move forward. But if we break that down to its bare bones, what that ultimately means is that you want to stop climbing. Like you just want to take a break. You know what I mean? Like you're on your way up to to the top of the mountain, and you're just like, yo, D, give me 5, bro. You know, and you want to take like a 5-10 minute break, and that's cool if that's your thing. You know, everyone needs breaks, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of others who are more hungry, and those who will not take breaks. And if you're saying, hey, yo, D, sometimes I need to take a break, that's fine. Just make sure you're not using it for your excuse as to why you can't climb, because sometimes excuses sound justifiable, right? Excuses are very, very easy to make as the reason. And we ourselves are the only one who can truly justify whether or not it's a reason, an actual genuine reason, or it's an excuse. No one else can justify that for you. But here's the thing, though, is that when you put it out there in the atmosphere and you say this excuse is that reason, what happens is now you have to protect that reason. You now have to protect it because you birthed it. You manifested it as the reason. And so in order for you to not come off as if that reason is just some lame ass excuse, you now have to continue building the story as to why that's the reason. And what happens then is you buy into it and you get convinced, you get sold into it like, oh yeah, huh, that is a reason. And what happens is all that is just overthinking. And so my challenge to you today is don't overthink about it. Don't overthink shit. Just, you know, be practical, be realistic, be strategic, but don't be paralyzed. Don't be stuck watching everyone else do it. If anything, just go, because the absolute worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to trip, get a bruise, but at least you'll know how to do it on your next round. And the faster that you fail, the faster that you'll climb. Otherwise, you could learn a shortcut, and you could learn a shortcut today. Look at the links below this video. There's this place, there's a section that's called the course. And it's basically a link to my library, and it says product library on the link. And what it does is it shows you these different courses that are available today in order for you to step your game up and get a better grip and hold of your own mentality, your own mindset, your own ability to persuade, sell, and close and originate new sales and keep it going and create a system that's automated so it's not requiring so much of your work. If you want to know how to put in equivalent work of 12 hours in just a matter of 8, then you'll learn either a shortcut or you'll learn how to fail fast. And I could teach you a quicker way than that. So go to the link below this video that says product library. You're going to see the courses that are available today. And the absolute very least, you're going to want to definitely download a copy of the sales script. Make sure you're giving yourself a competitive advantage. But also, when you get a copy of that sales script, share it. You know, like send the link and be like, yo, boo boo, check out this script. Oh, whoa, tried it. And just like everyone else saying, oh, the resistance is gone. It's like they don't even fight back. D, thank you. And I want you to experience it too. And leave your comments below with what your takeaway was. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.